All right, so welcome to the University of Michigan and this exciting conference on transnational vulnerabilities in governance, employment, health, and education. My name is Kelly Askew, and I have the honor of serving as the director of the African Studies Center. We are now in the 6th year of our existence here at the university, and I've had the honor of helping to get it launched. I'd like to begin, first of all, by thanking Ann Pitcher and her colleagues on the African Social Research Initiative for organizing this incredible event. I applaud and sing your praises, Ann, for bringing us all together for this, our 3rd biannual meeting in this shared ASRI endeavor. I'd also like to thank our guests from the African continent who have traveled far and long to come and participate. Your presence and your contributions affirm the commitment we share here to collaboration and partnership, shared scholarship, and shared praxis. And a final thank you goes to the African Studies Center staff, Sandy Schultz. Sandy, of course, just steps out when I'm trying to acknowledge her. And Devin Keene, and of course, Ben, our grad student assistant, without whose labor and support we wouldn't be here today. So to recap briefly our history for joining us at this gathering for the first time, funding for the African Social Research Initiative was granted in 2008 by our University of Michigan President Mary Sue Coleman. And this followed her historic trip to Ghana and South Africa. She's the first president of the University of Michigan to have gone to anywhere outside of South Africa in Africa. The funding was intended to advance existing collaborations in the quantitative social sciences, such as the long-lived collaboration between our own David Lamb and Murray Leibrandt, tracking youth and poverty in Cape Town over the past decade. That project serves as a model for how to sustain an international partnership and produce path-breaking results that could not have been achieved in the absence of collaboration. I'm assuming so, but I think so. The President's funding was also intended to support 3 conferences, with one each in South Africa, Ghana, and Michigan. And we've done exactly that, with the first meeting taking place in Cape Town in 2009, then in Accra in 2011, and now here in Michigan in 2013. President Coleman, an ardent supporter of Michigan-African alliances, will be stepping down as president at the end of this academic year. And we hope her commitment to African partnerships for our university will be upheld by her as yet to be named successor. However, I'm very pleased to report that last December, in one of her big acts as outgoing president, she decided to extend the life of these exciting initiatives that we've started at the ASC in social science, in the humanities, in the STEM disciplines, and our UMAPS, that's the African Presidential Scholars Program, where we bring faculty to U of M to do research residencies for up to 6 months. She's decided to extend all 4 of these initiatives for another full cycle, refunding us to the tune of $1.8 million. So while at one point it looked like this conference would be ASRI's swan song, in fact, it is but the latest opportunity to work together on producing social scientific research that can delve deeply into the root causes of inequality in the United States and in Africa, such that viable steps towards redress might be identified. May the sheer academic talent in this room yield collective insight and generate integrated solutions to the problems that plague all of our countries, of poverty and lack of access to proper health care, of corruption and lack of quality educational options, of unemployment and lack of optimism in a better future. Thank you, welcome once again, and a luta continua. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I think you know who I am, Ann Pitcher. I'm the coordinator of the African Social Research Initiative. I'd like to welcome those of you from our partner institutions in South Africa and Ghana, and also our invited participants from Malawi, Kenya, Uganda, Angola, and Mozambique. We very much appreciate how far you've traveled and how much time you have taken out of your busy schedules to be with us. Welcome also to students, faculty, staff at the University of Michigan, as well as those with an interest in our conference themes. We thank you very much for attending, and we want to encourage you to make comments and to participate in our discussions. We set the room up this way so that people would feel that they are part of the discussions. Those of you who have attended our conferences in the past, and I think it's about 50–60% of the people in this room have been in previous conferences in Cape Town and Accra, you know that this is our third biannual conference hosted by ASRI. For those of you who may be hearing about ASRI for the first time, I'd like to share a bit of the background on our mission, our accomplishments, and our objectives going forward. ASRI, as Kelly said, is one of 4 initiatives funded by the President of the University of Michigan following her trip to Ghana and South Africa in 2008. It falls under the auspices of the African Studies Center, which has been operating since 2009. And without the support of the African Studies Center, we really could not pursue this initiative with the energy and the commitment and the dedication that we've been able to do it. ASRI's goal is and has been to promote excellence in social science research among the University of Michigan and its partner institutions in Ghana and South Africa. Moreover, a central objective of ASRI has been to contribute to the career development of emerging social scientists on the continent. Our record over the last 4 years demonstrates that we've honored our commitment to these goals in diverse and creative ways. First, under the direction of our previous coordinator, Rachel Snow, and I'm very sorry to say that Rachel will not be here this weekend. She is not feeling well following a trip to Mexico. But under Rachel's guidance and in partnership with counterparts in Ghana and South Africa, we were able to organize wonderful exchanges and symposia in Cape Town and Accra. And we hope to replicate that here this weekend as well. Second, for the past 3 years, David Lamb and Murray LeBrant have organized and taught STATA courses in Ghana. That's become a central focus of this initiative that we offer 2 statistical courses as part of the initiative, and David and Murray have taught one of those consecutive years in Cape Coast and also in Accra. And Rod Alentz, working with the Center for Democratic Development in Accra, has also taught a course using R. They've been assisted by a number of graduate students, some of whom are here this weekend. Alicia Ndlovu and Carlos Shinga have helped Rod in his course. And David, I'm not sure, do you have some graduate students here who've?
Yes, it's helped, and I should say that the Ghanaian faculty helped enormously on the teaching of the course.
So we would very much like to thank our counterparts in Ghana and South Africa for the great interest and support that they've shown, and also that they welcome this initiative and wanted to see it survive. So we're very appreciative of the way in which we've been able to work together on that. ASRI has also developed and awarded seed grants for promising research in each of our 3 initiatives, which include public health, economics, and also politics and governance. So we have a number of people who've benefited from these seed grants who've gone on to publish research based on the work that they did. And we also have some that are ongoing. In fact, Sylvia and I are expected to produce some research from the work that we are doing with the seed grant we were awarded last May. Fourth, through our participation in the University of Michigan African Presidential Scholars Program, we have mentored around 4 or 5 scholars who come as a part of that program. One of them is here today, Jonathan Ayiti. Jonathan? Our idea there is to encourage those scholars to then continue their association with the University of Michigan and with our programs. And Jonathan, this summer, or our summer, at any rate, this past July, Jonathan participated in Murray and David's STATA course. So we really feel that we're starting to institutionalize the program and to respond to challenges and to opportunities that exist on the continent. In short, I think it's a record that we should very much be proud of, and it's also a record of achievement that's been recognized by the president of the University of Michigan, and she's given us additional funding to continue to pursue the work that we've done for the next 3 years. I think this will give us a chance to further institutionalize the partnerships, to strengthen our collaboration in the fields of health, economic development, studies of inequality and poverty, and politics and governance. And I think that most importantly, it gives us an opportunity to offer additional training and to give scholars an opportunity to expand their skills and their expertise. And we have some initiatives going forward that we would very much like to pursue. I'd like to mention 2 of them. Perhaps at lunchtime we can discuss these further and indeed during the rest of the conference. But 2 of those that we wrote into the grant that for the next 3 years include bringing scholars to Michigan if they would like further statistical training or training in spatial analysis, or doing how to do survey research or how to analyze the findings. These are all courses that are offered at University of Michigan in our summer in June and July, and we've allocated funding for emerging scholars to take advantage of those courses by coming to the university for 4 to 8 weeks. So those of you who would like to build on the training that you've already had, or if you have graduate students who would like to benefit from the courses that we offer here, I would very much encourage you to pursue that. And as a group, we'll need to come up with some sensible dates and a procedure for identifying people who would really benefit from those courses. The second initiative that we wrote into the grant had to do with developing a kind of mentoring program in Ghana and South Africa for graduate students from the University of Michigan. In discussions about this, we thought that it would be very helpful for our graduate students to have the opportunity to shadow some of you in the research that you're doing, whether it's in public health and medicine, or whether it's doing surveys in the field, or running courses. And we thought that this would be a very good opportunity for our graduate students to spend more time with you, and perhaps also to work as research assistants. So that's another initiative that we would very much like to get underway really in the next 6 months to a year. All right, now we turn to this conference. This is the third of our biannual conferences. It's the first on U.S. soil. It's the one where we get to play the host. And when we thought about hosting it at the University of Michigan, we asked ourselves, what do we want to show you? And what do we want to share with you? Of course, most of all, we want to show you our hospitality and welcome you here to the campus, the home of the maize and the blue, the home of the Wolverines, the home of the M-difference. We want to share our work and learn from your findings in the fields of education, employment, childhood development, elections, public health, gender, and housing. But we also want to show you that we haven't figured everything out in our country. And that was the purpose of the trip yesterday. Our government has shut down. Some politicians in this country are gleeful that we're saving $24 billion a month because we don't have to pay the salaries of public employees if we continue not to function. Our national parks have closed. We are thinking of selling paintings to keep a city afloat. So we have not figured this out, this question of development. And so we're looking for answers too. We're also doing extensive research on inequality, for example, in this country. We're also trying to figure out how do you rescue a declining city? How can you be creative when you have 70,000 vacant buildings in a city that used to have 2 million people? We're trying to figure out why students don't complete secondary school. These are themes that those of you who work in Ghana or Mozambique or Angola or South Africa have also, you're also trying to figure out these questions. And when we went to Detroit yesterday, we went to a school where they're trying to rescue students from the attractions of a drug culture or criminal gangs, where they're trying to encourage them to complete an education and to find gainful work, even if they don't want to go on to college. And as we saw with the visit to the health clinic, we're also struggling with chronic diseases that our healthcare system it isn't tackling, and so we're coming up with creative approaches, community-based approaches to try and mitigate the effects of diseases like type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular problems. So we're looking for answers too. And I think that we would benefit from studying the research that's been done on the continent and the approaches that have been suggested for resolving some of these challenges in African countries. Before turning to the conference program and the ways in which we'll be discussing some of this today, I do want to thank those of you who've made this conference possible. The president of the University of Michigan for so generously funding us is, of course, first on the list. The director of the African Studies Center, Kelly Askew, has been incredibly supportive of our initiative and has attended many of our events and our meetings and shared her experience of running conferences or organizing academics around a shared theme. I would like to thank also my colleagues in ASRI for their contributions, for coming to all the meetings, and for sharing their ideas, their research ideas. I think that I did not truly appreciate all the work that Rachel Snow did as coordinator when she had this job. Probably wouldn't have agreed to do it if I had known, but, and I wish she were here so I could tell her how much I appreciate her organizational skills and the work that she has put into ASRI over the last 3 years. I'd like to thank Devin Keene especially. She has fantastic logistical and organizational skills, and she stayed in touch with you, all of you, on a regular basis when we were organizing the conference, and I really, really appreciate that. Sandy Schultz and Benedito Machava have also been part of this great team of organizing this conference. And finally, I'd like to thank Myra Teta for organizing the trip to Detroit yesterday. So let's give them a hand, and then we'll go on. All right, on to the program. There's been sort of one big change. There have been a few smaller changes, but the one big change is that unfortunately Rachel Snow will not be with us. And she was going to give the keynote speech at lunchtime. So David and Murray have stepped up, and Samuel as well. So David, Murray, and Samuel have stepped up to give a longer version of their paper. Is everything all right?
Yeah, we're just going to fix the PowerPoint since you're done.
Oh, okay. So they will be giving a longer version of their paper at lunchtime. So they'll be our keynote speakers for lunch. We've made a few changes to the time of the program in order to be done tomorrow by the start of the Michigan-Penn State football game. I know that you were all looking forward to that event, so we did a little tweaking to make sure that we have time to get over to Pizza House. We've reserved a room at Pizza House. I can see Dory getting really excited over there. We've reserved a room at Pizza House so that we can watch the game. Of course, this is optional. If some of you prefer soccer, then you may not want to watch our more brutal form of play, but we'll be there for the kickoff. That's I can assure you that. The keynote has been changed, but otherwise we have 5 panels, and those will take place over the course of the next 2 days. All right, the first, I'm now going to introduce the keynote speaker. I might take a small break because I think that Devin would like to adjust the PowerPoint, and then I'll introduce the keynote.